So how can you stay warm when the power goes out? With all the stuff that's going on with the grid, I'm gonna talk about easy ways to do that. Number one, the easiest way for most people, you know, a lot of people are gonna have some kind of camping gear. So you got, all right, you got your sleeping bags, you got your tents. So you have a sleeping bag that you'll be able to be in and your tent. Now, regardless of what the temperature is on the outside, you can also take your tent and put a blanket over the top of it to give you some more insulating value. And with all that in mind, if you're trying to do this, hey, you might want to put something underneath your doors, and if you happen to have some bubble wrap or something, you can put that kind of stuff on your windows. And this is probably the least expensive way for most people because a lot of people are gonna have tents and sleeping bags, and if you don't already have one, I'd highly recommend it. All right, number two, and probably my favorite way right now, basically you have a little solar generator, basically just a little power bank. And you can take these and use it with one of these, an electric blanket. This is just the heated throw blanket. So this one only uses 40 some watts. So depending on what size solar generator you have, that's what they call these. You know, it depends on how long you want to run it. This one right here is just the EcoFlow River Max Plus. I got this one for $349 at Sam's Club, so it's available right now that I'm making in this video. And this thing right here has about, I think it's about 720 or so watt hours. So you'll be able to run a couple electric blankets basically all night long and be good to go. And the good thing about something like this, that regardless of what you have going on, you should be able to charge it if you have a vehicle. It comes with different plugs, so if you have a solar panel, you can charge it from a solar panel. You can charge it from a regular gas generator. You know, you can charge it from your car. It has a car plug, car outlet. And depending on what size electric blanket you have, some of them use more power. And you know, this one right here, to me, is the best thing going because it's only use 40 some watts. And if you have to use 2 or 3 or 4 of them for your family, you know, you try to pile everybody under a couple of them and just use more blankets and pile them on top of that, and you should be good to go. You should be able to stay warm enough to be comfortable. And of course, none of these things are gonna be perfect. In a perfect world, you know, you'd be able to create your own power if you have a full solar system. And if that's something you're interested in, hey, I have a video talking about what my system will run. Hey, go check that video out above. And none of this stuff's gonna be perfect, and I will have it linked up in the description below if you're looking for any of these items. So basically, number 3, we're gonna jump into gas generators, which you can charge this little solar generator from. You can do your electric blankets, you can do space heaters. There's multiple things you can use your gas generator for. You may even have a plug going to your house to be able to run maybe a furnace or something like that, depending on how big the generator is. You know, I don't recommend getting a generator that big because it's gonna burn through a lot of gas. I'd rather have some kind of batteries that you can maybe be able to make a battery backup system, even like one of these little EcoFlows or something like that, and be able to run at night with one of these, just run an electric blanket or something. And then during the daytime, you run the generator and maybe run some electric heaters to heat your house up, as well as charge this back if you don't have a solar panel to charge it back from. But there's just a lot of options just depending on what you want to do. And remember, if you're thinking, hey, I don't have a big old generator, if you have a vehicle, you have a generator. A lot of cars now are gonna come with your 110 AC plugs, and if not, or you have the inverters that are connected right to like a 12-volt outlet like this, little utility outlet, basically cigarette lighter on your vehicle. You know, you can plug a little inverter into that, get like a little 200-watt inverter, but you can plug a little inverter like this into it. This little Whistler 200-watt inverter, you can run 4 of these little electric blankets from that. So, you know, you can leave the car running or run it for 30 minutes, turn it off for 30 minutes. Depending on what you want to do, you do have the option. Just make sure you don't run your battery down so low that you're not able to start it. A good thing to have would be a jump box. So if you did run it down too low, you can at least jump it to get it started again, but that's a whole other thing. And I'll try to link up a little inverter like this in the description below. And number 4, something very important, a propane heater. Basically, this is a Dynaglow little portable heater you can take around, put it in your house, you know, take it with you on trips, put it in the tent, you know, depending on what you want to do. But basically, this thing is gonna at least keep one room in your house warm. You can run off the little 1-pound propane tanks, but I'd recommend getting an adapter so you can run off a 20-pound tank. You know, they have this brand, Mr. Buddy, there's a lot of different brands out there. I'll try to link one up in the description below, so if you're interested in something like this. And they got different sizes, so you just need to see what size you would think will work best for you. To me, the bigger the better, because you can always turn it down on low or medium, you know, so you don't have to run it on high. If you get the Mr. Buddy, just the little round one that just sits on top of the cylinder, I don't recommend that one. To me, it doesn't get hot enough. The heat all seems to be right on top of it. And this one kind of, you know, would disperse the heat a little better, in my opinion. And so to go along with this, you just have to make sure you have enough propane. You know, if you have a 20-pound tank already on your barbecue grill, and you get, you know, 1 or 2 more, you're definitely gonna be able to run for a few days, probably a week, depending on how high you run the temp on this. You know, definitely I mean, just pick certain parts of the day and run it. If you don't want to run it in the middle of the day when it gets a little warmer, you know, you can turn it off and save a little fuel. Number 5 is gonna be, hot food. Hot food is definitely gonna warm a person up, so definitely highly recommend that. If all your stuff's electric and you're not able to make any hot food, you know, people are not gonna be happy or warm. So basically, you can get one of these little butane stoves and you can actually run this thing in your house. You know, it runs off these little cans right here. You get you a few cans and different options. You can use the propane and use the stuff outside or whatever, but I prefer the butane because you can actually use these inside. You know, just always, anytime you're starting any kind of fire in your house, you gotta be careful. Make sure you have smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, all that kind of stuff. But highly recommend one of these so you can get some hot food in people. That will definitely be able to warm people up. And that's gonna bring us into number 6. And in my opinion, the most important one on this whole list, you know, you gotta come up with a plan. Either you're gonna do, you know, more blankets, you know, sleeping bags, a tent, you know, have propane heaters, have a solar generator to run electric blankets, whatever the case may be, you need a plan in advance. If you're not ready when an actual event happens, it's gonna be a lot harder to come up with a plan at that moment when your family is cold and looking at you like, hey, what is really going on here? You can take all this stuff, put it in a bin, go ahead and label that thing, and then you always know what it's gonna be at, and you're always gonna be ready to go. So what did I miss? Let me know that in the comments below. How do you stay warm when the power goes out? Do you have a whole house backup? Do you have a solar generator? Do you have extra blankets? Do you have electric blankets? I'm gonna be doing more videos on this little EcoFlow here to show you what it can do and how to add more power to it. You know, basically double the capacity for a lot cheaper than it can be if you bought it from EcoFlow or whatever, if you bought a bigger unit. It's nice buying one of these units, a smaller one that's more inexpensive, that'll run just a few things you want it to run. And it's just already has an inverter and everything in it. Has it'll take 200 watts of solar and that different stuff. So you can have that already and add another battery to it, but we'll do a whole video of that. So if you like this kind of video, hey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and thanks for watching.